and welcome to NerdVsWorld, episode 47, Nerdmanji. I'm Brendan.
I'm Spindles.
And today we're joined by Simon from Thirsty Meeples.
Hello, thank you for having me on. It's great.
No worries at all, sir.
Because there's an article in the Telegraph last week that needs some response. But we'll get to that. That's going to be our talking point for the end of the show. To start off with, we're going to run through some quick comic book and film-related news.
It seems like there's been a lot of it exploding today.
So, there's the Spider-Man stuff to start off with.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Holland has been cast. Peter Parker is going to be a teenager, and Kevin Feige from Marvel has said that he wants to have a John Hughes style approach to the new Spider-Man film. So it's not going to be all about the villain, it's going to be about...
set in Shermer, Illinois, and it's going to be following a group of quirky teens.
Yeah, it's going to be the Breakfast Club.
The joke I've seen bouncing around the internet a lot is the next time they reboot it, he's going to be in diapers and in a crib, and he's going to be like 6-year-old Spider-Man.
Reboot it so many times that it'll turn out, he'll be fighting against Stewie as his nemesis.
I think the rule is every time a Stark dies, Spider-Man gets rebooted.
Yeah,
We've got, 3 to go now?
Yeah, there ain't many.
There are only left. So they have... Kevin Feige's acknowledged that they can't do a John Hughes movie because only John Hughes could do a John Hughes movie.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the field they're going to go for, so...
Yeah, Kevin Smith can do a John Hughes movie. Well, at least he tries very hard to do them.
Yeah.
I'd say he gets fairly close.
Yeah, he does the whole the angsty adolescent thing.
He's
very
good
well.
at the double-headed talking head shots. That's, yeah.
I'm just disappointed that Kevin Smith's Spider-Man isn't a thing.
Well, indeed. Well, I'm still disappointed that Kevin Smith's Superman wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
We were all waiting for that one.
Yeah.
Or his Batman.
Yeah, indeed.
His Batman became bastardized and ripped from the series and repackaged as, I want to say, Wild Wild West, from an evening with Kevin Smith.
Oh, I don't remember.
Where he's talking about how his idea for a Batman film got repackaged completely, and that his idea was to have like this big sort of metallic spider.
Yeah, that's
part of the
Wild
final
West.
surface,
Yeah,
and that became Wild Wild West. So
Oh, God.
One of the first steampunk films, in my opinion.
nice.
So Will Smith, a trendsetter in the steampunk world. You'd never have thought that.
Yeah,
Kicked it off, but left room for improvement. That's
Absolutely, yeah.
And then obviously New Line Cinema, division of Warner, have bought up all the Vertigo rights.
Intriguing.
It is, because you kind of see...
Including the Sandman property, which is currently under development.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that, but in a cautious kind of way. If they do it right, if they do it well, amazing. If they don't, I'll weep.
It's going to be interesting, I mean, because I do like Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I think I've liked pretty much everything he's ever done. Like stuff like Brick is absolutely an amazing film. If you've not seen Brick, then I highly recommend you watch it. It's kind of like a pulp noir thriller set in a high school. It's very, very cool film. But yeah, I think he's amazing. I don't think I've seen him in a bad film so far. But I don't know, I kind of feel it's a bit of a stretch if he's going to be Morpheus.
Yeah.
I think that's a bit of a stretch for me.
Yeah.
Because he's not exactly tall and imposing.
He's very baby-faced, isn't he?
And he's very little.
And I can't help but think back to Third Rock from the Sun with the hair, and it's...
You know, it's kind of, the same thought that I had when they originally announced that Lestat was going to be Tom Cruise, It's that kind of knee-jerk reaction. Yeah, exactly.
Twitch.
Sorry for twitching for the benefit of people listening. So, I don't know. Yeah, it could be interesting. I mean, who knows what films they'll bring out. I think stuff like Black Orchid and things like that have been around for a very long time.
American Vampire.
Yeah. They could do Hellblazer.
They could.
Just as a hint, they could do Hellblazer.
They could do it properly.
Good Lord. That would be a thing, wouldn't it?
Because, of course, all of this has meant a double smack in the face for any Constantine fans expecting him to return in Justice League Dark, because Guillermo del Toro is now no longer involved in that project. Which is a shame. That's been about 2.5 years, I think, since we announced that was going on.
Yeah.
And nothing has happened for it at all, and now nothing's ever going to happen. So it's
Taking this opportunity to withdraw that prediction.
Yeah, indeed.
I'm kind of intrigued by it. I like the way it looks like it's heading, with Warner's keeping the main DC universe film rights, and the Warner's offshoot of New Line keeping the DC offshoot of Vertigo.
But I
It
guess
ties together quite nicely. There's symmetry there, which I appreciate.
there is, but I guess my concern is that with the New 52 reboot, they mainstreamed a whole bunch of the Vertigo properties. So I guess there's now a problem as to where those properties sit. Do they sit as part of the mainstream DC universe, or are they Vertigo?
Well, there's not many current Vertigo properties.
Oh, no.
So everything that's completed, I guess, just stands within its own universe now in the film world.
But, you know, like Constantine as an example, Hellblazer finished, but Constantine is now property of the main DC universe. So I guess that's my thing, is where do they sit?
I don't know. No, I guess there'll be some sort of crossover, maybe.
Possibly, yeah. Because there are tons and tons of Vertigo properties that I'd really, really love to see
Well,
made
we were
into
talking about
films.
one last time out. We were talking about Fables.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that would be my pick.
That would be awesome.
Because Fables to a movie would save it from the worrying conflict we had last time. Was like, if Fables comes out as a TV show, it's coming out in the same place as Grimm and Once Upon a Time. You know?
Yeah.
It's kind of a bit tired, but Fables, the comic book, was not at all tired. It was kind of
Not
fresh
at all.
and crazy.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it was one of those things that kind of kicked off that whole idea of the dark fairy tale thing, which then got ported to TV and is now very, very... The whole kind of dark fairy tale thing is a very popular genre.
Yeah.
I can't remember, there was one of the authors we were talking to that was pitching stuff, that saying that they were pitching stuff to their publishers, and they were just like, well, if you do a dark fantasy, we're interested, but if you don't, then no, dark fairy tales is the way that we're all going at the moment. It's like, wow, okay, really?
That's the thing.
You know, these people write steampunk and you're saying no, do they just want dark fantasy? Yeah, okay.
But yeah, they could take the first 4 trade paperbacks of Fables, and that's your film right there. Because that's got everything. That's got the intro of the Red Rose and Snow White story, and then it's got the farm.
So is that not a lot for a film?
I suppose I read them quite quickly, so maybe it's just
yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
But bear in
Okay,
mind that you'll probably read one in the space of time it would take you to watch a film.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, maybe not the first 4 then.
Yeah, that's a little bit ambitious.
Maybe.
Maybe a trilogy out of the first 4. That
Perhaps.
might work.
Perhaps.
And then you run the risk of stretching it too far.
Yeah.
I saw the Hobbit, the most recent Hobbit film, quite recently, and wept.
Yes, as
Jesus
did
wept.
Tolkien, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think there was a fair amount of rage at this end as well, I think, about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise we have Why the Last Man and DMZ. I mean, there's so many Vertigo properties that could be converted. So,
Interesting times.
yeah, very cool. Daredevil casting news for season 2.
Yeah, indeed.
The Punisher is set to be the villain, although I feel
Which is interesting.
Oh, okay.
he'll probably be cast in the similar sort of anti-hero light that, if you think about it, Kingpin was.
I think he very much was. I mean,
Yeah.
Kingpin in that series was a very enigmatic bad guy.
Yeah. The fact they had a Kingpin flashback episode and you started empathising with that character.
Yeah, you really did like him a lot
Yeah.
of the time until you got to a certain point in episode 4 and you were just like, right, okay, it's like that, is it? Okay.
But then you get that moment where every time you see the painting, you just have that moment of, oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think it'll go along the same lines. Essentially, the storyline as has been released so far is following Kingpin's arrest and imprisonment, Hell's Kitchen's gone to pot. And Frank Castle is out administering his own brand of justice. He's going the exact same route as Matt Murdock, but just with more fatalities. And I think it's going to be the clash of ideals that has the sort of classic hero-villain, antagonist-protagonist thing. I don't think he's necessarily going to be a bad guy.
Well, I was going to say, it depends what slant they take on the storyline. If they go down the kind of, he's doing this because his family got killed in the crossfire of a thing, then that immediately makes him much more of a sympathetic character. But if he's just going along the lines of things are out of control on the street and he's just going around murdering people because they're breaking the law, so it very much depends on the slant they put on the character.
Yeah. And here's the other interesting thing to consider about it. This is due 2016. Civil War is due 2016. Is there the possibility that Frank Castle's rise in Hell's Kitchen becomes part of the reason for the Registration Act in Civil War?
Say, well,
Possibly,
There could be some crossover there.
but Frank Castle isn't a powered.
He's not, but he's a hero vigilante.
Well, I thought the registration thing was more about powered with Civil War, hence why Iron Man is...
Well, he's just man in the seat.
Exactly, that's why because he's for it, isn't he? And Captain America's against it.
Which always seems weirdly back to front, but it kind of makes sense with the rights of the individual that Captain America counts. Yeah. But I think it was about the unmasking, isn't it? It's about the kind of bringing these people into the light so they're accountable.
To show who they are, and accountable for their actions. Yeah.
So maybe it would... But that's, forgive my ignorance in this field, but that's surely a massive crossover between the two universes, isn't it?
Well, the way everything the MCU is doing is being coordinated higher up.
So all of these Netflix ones are tying in with the larger cinematic universe.
Fantastic.
And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show. Yeah,
because we've still got another 3 Netflix kind of one-shots, if you will, to come, which is the Jessica Jones...
Iron Fist, Luke Cage.
Yeah, and then Defenders, which is a mashup of all of them together as an ensemble. So you get what the first round for the Marvel Cinematic Universe was, which is an origin story for each of them, and then an ensemble movie. And then that's all crossing over with the mainline Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Wow.
They definitely have a big plan.
It's ambitious.
Very much so.
This is a good time to be a nerd.
Oh yeah. I think we said that when we very first started this show. Is like, this is kind of, if we were teenagers at this point, we'd be like, holy shit, bring it all on, this is so awesome. Now we're a bit older, we're a bit like, we shall wait and we'll see.
We'll reserve our snark for later. Speaking of stuff that was potentially snark worthy, Ant-Man has premiered in the US. It's had its press screenings, and reactions have been overly positive.
Excellent.
Yeah,
I saw the trailer for that last week and it looked really quite good. Am I right in saying that originally the original director dropped out? It was
Edgar Wright.
Yeah, of course. Huge fan across the board. Love his work. So I was very sad to hear that.
He was also involved in writing the story, if not also the screenplay.
Yeah.
And then. Don't know why, but he left. So
I followed everything of his from Space Dog.
Oh God,
It's just fantastic.
All
of it, but, So that almost made me write it off. Almost hearing, he's not involved anymore. But now I've heard some positive things as well, and the trailer looked entertaining.
Yeah, the trailer looks good. I think I saw it. It was a couple of months ago on Avengers: Age of Ultron. At the start of that, and it looked quite cool.
I did see that. I saw that. I went to Ultron the midnight screening in town here, and it was at the beginning of that, wasn't it? Yeah. Exciting.
Definitely.
But it's good, because I was kind of worried about this one. It felt to me like this could be the one that maybe drops the ball for Marvel. Because it's kind of a, to my mind, it's an odder choice than Guardians of the Galaxy. It's odder to do it at this point in the Avengers storyline.
I think it's a very odd choice as the last film of Phase 2.
Yeah.
Because, it would have made sense to... Well, we all thought it was going to end Phase 2 on
Age
of Ultron. But no, they've snuck in this extra one, which I thought was going to be the beginning of Phase 3. Yeah.
Well, maybe it's just an odd side effect of the project being delayed with problems with writing and direction and blah, 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 blah. Maybe it was meant to be earlier/later.
Well, I think it was originally supposed to be later and not part of this original round. But I guess maybe if Edgar Wright did leave and they had to rewrite the story, then their option was to come up with something entirely new or tie it in with the events of the current universe, which I think would have been the easier call. Because you've already got stuff to base it on.
I guess we'll find out for ourselves in a couple of weeks, because it's released soon.
Indeed.
Yeah, so it's a couple of weeks into July, I think.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of films to see before that to get upset about. Terminator.
Just don't do it. Why do you do this to yourselves?
To be honest, that was my pick for film franchise to let me down this year. But then Jurassic World beat it.
well, let's reserve judgment, shall we?
But on the plus side, we have got Inside Out coming in July. Which has been universally praised. I've not heard anyone who's seen that film say a bad word about it. A friend of mine went to Cannes, and he saw it at Cannes, and he loved it. And I trust his opinion on films just implicitly.
Okay.
So, looking forward to that. It's Disney Pixar.
Well, I was going to say, this is the numbschildren, right?
Yeah.
The little people in the head. Yes. That looks really entertaining. I've always been a fan of what I childly call cartoons.
Yeah.
And it ticks all my boxes. It looks hilarious.
Yeah, it looks great. So looking forward to that. Cool. Any other comic
news? I don't think so.
I mean, Ron Perlman put up a cheeky Instagram post the other day, which seems to indicate that Hellboy 3 could be on the way.
Which would be lovely, and if Guillermo del Toro has dropped Justice League Dark,
maybe you can get across to it.
Maybe. But I mean, the main thing is he's focusing on Pacific Rim 2.
Fair enough.
Which, more giant robots, more giant lizards.
Huzzah.
Who can dislike that?
Absolutely. I always felt it was kind of unfair that Hellboy 2 got panned the way it did, just because it made a loss. I mean, it's hardly that film's fault. If you release that film the week after The Dark Knight...
Oh, yeah, that was...
Yeah.
Plus, was it just me, or did anyone else see the fight at the end of Hellboy 2 and think, if they did a proper D&D movie, we've just found the fight choreographer for Trista Worden.
Yeah, definitely.
Those elves and the way they fought were just amazing. But if the third one's on the way...
massively up for that. Yeah, I think we were talking about this on Saturday night, saying, Hellboy 3, come on, bring it on.
And more power to Ron Perlman as well, because he's pretty much carried the campaign to bring this film out.
Yeah.
So, cool. We'll see.
Get Big Red back.
Yeah.
Needs to be finished off.
Sweet.
Cool.
That brings us nicely to Mr. Harry Wallop.
Harry Wallop.
Yes.
And the main talking point for tonight's episode. I'm just going to quote...
You have notes?
I have notes.
What the fuck's with this?
I know.
So it means professionally.
You've prepped.
I've stepped up my game.
Dude.
I know, right?
He's trying to make you look bad.
Can't wing it this time. Yeah.
That's fine. I think I had to do that when we did the
Sam
Hugo
Puffins.
Awards ones.
Cool. So the title of his article was Card Games and Board Games are Dying Out and It's No Great Loss. It's worth mentioning at this point that other articles by this journalist include Why have Cadbury's Roses changed their wrappers? Is it acceptable to drink mint tea on a stag weekend? And the classic, Wet wipes, work of the devil or an invaluable convenience? So I'm not quite sure if Mr. Harry Wallop is trolling the internet with this article right now. So...
Okay.
The article itself is a response to findings of a survey conducted by Barclaycard.
Barclaycard, wasn't it?
Yeah. On behalf of the Yes to Chess initiative. Right.
Okay.
It's a survey of 1,000 children aged between 7 and 14 and 1,000 parents with children in that age range. So already we're looking at 3 potential problems there. 1, the size of the sample is hardly indicative.
Statistically relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a small sample, it might as well be nothing.
I was going to say, I fall in that bracket. They didn't fucking ask me.
Second, it's carried out by Barclaycard. So there's probably some sort of skew in the questions there. And thirdly, and probably most importantly, part of the Yes to Chess Foundation. So the questions are obviously going to have some sort of bias towards chess and that view of traditional board gaming.
Yeah.
At least that would be my thought. So the findings were that 73% of the parents remembered playing board games when they were the children's age, as opposed to 44% of the children that were surveyed. 25% of the children played chess, compared to 45% of the adults of children of that age. And then the one which just seemed to be thrown in at the end, and seems to be what he's building his entire argument around as the proof, is that 82% of children play video games versus 30% of adults of children of that age who did when they were their children's age.
Okay, so what... Okay.
So when the adults of the children were the children's age, they didn't play video games.
Okay.
Which is kind of... If you think of how technology... If you assume that the parents were at least 16 when they had their first child...
Yeah. See, because I'm fairly different, because I had kids pretty young. So, and computers and so forth were only really coming on board at home when I was like 9 or 10. So anybody who's like, probably I would say over 42, 43 is not going to have had any access to video games or computer games at home at all.
Yeah, and even 7 to 14 years ago, if we assume the minimum age is 16 of the parents at the time they had their first child, we don't have the array of handheld devices that we have now. We actually don't have hardly any. I think it's 05 was started the breakthrough with the smartphone technology.
Oh god, because mobile phones. So what? 2001, we had the Nokia 7110 Matrix phone that had Snake.
Yeah,
and that was the level of technology. So it progressed from there, because I think it was probably about 2 years after. So it would have been about 2003 that Nokia brought out their first kind of games phone.
Right.
I don't know if you remember those. Was it the Nokia M series? I think they were. Or the N-Gage.
Oh, they look like a game. They look like, oh god, what was the old one? They look like a Lynx. I don't know why I go back that far, but that's side on.
I remember.
Yeah, and so that was the first gaming phone, if I recall correctly, and that was about 2003.
I think it fell on its arse, didn't it?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Not very good.
Because it was ridiculously expensive. So for its market that it was aiming at, they were all like, I've got Game Boys and things.
Why would I bother?
Yeah.
So I just think that the question skews against the bias of access, I guess, to video games, which is incredible. But let's try to get some evidence to sort of counter his assertion that board games were dying out. So, 2014, Kickstarter, $89 million pledged on games. The top funded game with $2 million was a game called Caverns, which was a tile-based board game.
Okay.
Is that out in your shop yet?
No, it doesn't ring a bell.
Incidentally, that got more than double the funding of the top video game. So, I mean, even just picking up tiny articles that I've read over the last couple of days, that's already showing a bias in favour of board games versus video games. And then there's other stats to say, as of November 2014, over the past 4 years, we've seen board game purchases rise by between 25% and 40% annually. I think we were saying before we started recording, we're in the middle of a board game renaissance at the moment.
Yeah.
I guess kind of before we go any further on the things, I guess I'd like to hear a bit about kind of where the idea for Thirsty Meeples came from and how that came about, and kind of how that fitted into kind of everyday society in Oxford, because it's an amazing thing that shop has done. I'm utterly in awe of it. And I think when we first heard about it opening, we were like, "Hell yes, bring this the hell on. We will be there."
Hallelujah! Golden time has come.
Yeah. So I mean, can you take us back a bit and tell us a bit
the
about
actual
it?
origin story for Thirsty Meeples Board Game Cafe is my my employer, John Morgan, owner, was part of a AD&D group. And on an occasion when somebody couldn't show up, one of his members, one of the players couldn't make it, the DM brought out a box of Munchkin.
Yeah.
And was, so we can't do that, we'll do this. And John was just like, what is this? This is amazing. This is fantastic. And they had a couple of games of Munchkin. And then from then on, whenever they couldn't do their regular session, somebody would bring along a different game. And from there, he found out more and more about the various games available. He went on a bit of a pilgrimage to Toronto, to the Snakes and Lattes. If you've heard of the Snakes and Lattes board game cafe in Toronto, it's one of the biggest, most successful board game cafes in the world. There's a lot out in the Far East as well. Korea and Japan and China have a lot of board game cafes. But yeah, he went out to Toronto, had a look at their setup there, came back and set about collecting board games. And now we're on something like 2,000 titles we book out every weekend. And yeah, I mean, our reaction to this, when somebody pointed it out to us, somebody sent us a tweet saying...
I think I tweeted it to you.
Yeah, was it you who originally sent it over? Thank you. Because we were just kind of slightly bemused, I guess, because you're looking down this tablet going, oh, board games are dying out, and you look up and you're looking at a room of 50 people playing board games, ranging from, 6-year-olds with their families all the way up,
Was it 6 to 60-year-olds?
Yeah.
So I've seen people in there playing.
Huge range of people playing games. 2 hours ago, I was at the cafe teaching, and we had 2 mums in with 7 kids from 6 to 12, I think they were, sort of age range, and we had them all playing together. And big games of pitch car where you're flicking things and all kinds of stuff. So I
was going to say, it's interesting. So what is the kind of average demographic in there? Do you mainly get students? Do you mainly get kids in with their parents? Or is it a good mix?
Well, students do make up a huge part of our business, being as Oxford's such a big student town with the many universities in the area, etc., and colleges. But we do see a huge, diverse group, really. I mean, ranging from kind of young professionals to the students to the families at the weekends. And, you know, come in on a Tuesday afternoon 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, when the school holidays have kicked in. I think that's about right, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about that, yeah. It's maybe 3 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, and we'll be, you know, round all day. We'll be overflowing with people. And so that was our response straight away to Mr. Wallop, was come down, check it out, because the stuff he's quoting, the stuff he's talking about, Monopoly and Cluedo, yeah, I mean...
I guess that was the key problem I had with the article, was he's referencing some very, very old board games, you know. It's the absolute classics that you played when you were a kid. I think he references backgammon and blackjack and stuff like that as his examples of board and card games.
Board games are rubbish, I mean Pong. And he's like, no, sorry, video games, computer games are rubbish. It's like Pong, and you're like, no, look at what's out there.
That's it, yes. Like, oh yes, but all these people spending all these hours playing Pac-Man, because that's what a video game is, isn't it? So I think it was a very, very naive description of what reflects current board games, because I mean I've certainly seen the resurgence of it at the conventions that I've been going to, where at every convention there has always been at least one, if not more, shops represented there in stall form selling board games. And they're, you know, they're not cheap anymore. These, you know, you will pay up to like maybe 80 quid sometimes for a game, depending on the complexity of it. Stuff like Vanguard, they can be very, very expensive games, but it's like anything, you get what you pay for. And these are some really, really good, incredibly complex games. Yeah. So I think it's a very naive viewpoint of his to say that people aren't playing games like that, because I think, comparing that to the offering that's around now, that they are quite dull.
Yeah, people have gone on from Monopoly because Monopoly is boring.
Yeah,
there's more.
Kids aren't chasing hoops down the street with sticks anymore either. You know,
times have changed. Yeah. And he kind of cites video games and computer games drawing people away, and now they're playing with their iPads and that. And I've come to the opinion that those of us that work in the board game industry, owe a lot to the video games and electronic games, because there's kind of gone this full-scale circuit where computers and consoles have become so kind of available and affordable. More and more people are playing games, ranging all the way up. It's not just a kids thing anymore, so to speak. And you go from this thing where you start playing games online and you can hear people and you can talk to people and you coordinate, and suddenly you get fed up with people shouting noob and obscenities down Call of Duty kind of TeamSpeak, etc.
Gate camping you in EVE Online.
Yeah. So you want to be able to see the person you're playing a game with. You want to be able to sit around and have a good time.
Also, I mean, I think it kind of dates back to, I think it was the Wii was the turning point in casual gaming, because up until that point, I think gaming had been very much, you were either into PCs and you had, you know, your really high spec PC and you did all your online MMORPGs, or you had a PS2 and you were a console fanatic and you spent all your time on these games. And then the Wii came out, and that was very aimed at casual gamers who could just pick it up and have a play and then go and do something else. And that's also very much the same way that games on social networks work and games on mobile phones. They're very simple concepts of, you know, form a line of four and do stuff. And I think that has really kind of channeled into people's desire to play the simpler types of games. And I think that ultimately acts as a kind of gateway drug to sitting down and playing a board game version of these things. Because, you know, if it wasn't for these phone games, you wouldn't get, you know, you get kids playing Angry Birds board games and stuff because it's the same as the stuff that's on their phones.
Yeah.
So I think it very much has kind of fed into it. I don't know if you guys agree or...
Kind of support each other. I mean, if I tell you that the new Portal board game that's coming out in the next couple of months, that is fully supported by Valve, and some of the Valve guys have worked on this board game adaptation of Portal.
Sweet.
That's like, wow. Yeah. You know, please God, don't be a lie. Don't take this cake away from me. Yeah. You know, and it's that's going to be amazing. And these two things support each other really well, because if you love playing games, odds are it doesn't really matter the format too much, be it electronic or physical kind of version. Miniatures, card games, they all kind of feed into each other. It's certainly been my opinion. I love card games, I love board games, I love miniature games, I love video games, I love computer games, and they're all just that social, competing but entertaining interaction, and they're all just feed into that same thing.
Yeah.
Have you done much in terms of the kind of competitive board gaming? Because I know Brendan got involved in the Settlers of Catan national finals.
Did well with that, didn't you?
About 35th, I think, in the end.
Oh, and the nationals, was that up at the...
At the Games Expo, yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
I crushed it in the first game.
Yeah.
And then got rinsed. Just utterly rinsed for the rest of the tournament. But yeah, it was fun. Wow. But the Games Expo was like proof in of itself that this is not a dying hobby.
Mm.
I mean, there were points of that weekend where, given that we had the entire first floor of the Hilton Metropole, you still couldn't find a spot to sit down and play board games.
Yeah, that was the only disappointment we had, because we were there as the games library.
Yeah.
We had 600 odd games, and we were doing this passport system, and people would come up to take a passport, take a game away, and then come back 3/4 an hour later saying, I can't find anywhere to play it. And that's like, this place is huge, you sure? Yeah. And they're like, yeah. And we had people, I don't know if you saw, there were people out on the grass playing board games in the sun because there were no flat surfaces.
We walked around with a copy of Dominion for a couple of hours. We took a copy of Dominion into the dark room in the end because we were just waiting forever to play it, and just ended up giving it back because we just never got around to it. We couldn't find a space.
What's the dark room, Brendan?
Oh, don't. Just okay, fine. I forgot that you mentioned it in an earlier episode.
Fine, call back to a previous episode. So.
No worries.
Thanks.
Derailed.
Yeah, I mean,
Fatality.
the Games Expo, I think they had like 7,000 unique visitors.
Oh, yeah.
And a footfall of much more than that, I think, over the weekend.
Next year they're going to be in the indoor arena and the Hilton for the tournament play, and they want us to do 2 separate libraries in both parts, or shift one huge library back and forth between them. We're still working out the details. And it's just getting bigger and bigger. I mean, that was why when we saw this article go up, the kind of growing demise of board games, I responded with incredulity. It was just like, really? And then so our response on Twitter was, no, please come down, come see us on a Saturday. We'll show you what there is. You know, there's so many good games.
An open offer from NerdVsWorld as well.
Absolutely.
If you want to come down and play some board games, Mr. Wallet, then...
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you should see the cabinet in my living room is bulging with board games. And my now 12-year-old daughter absolutely loves them.
And we'll gladly shout like a couple of hours gameplay down at Thirsty Meeples as well.
Damn right.
Where their chocolate shakes are to die for.
Oh, yes.
You're very kind.
It's my brain food.
And a marvellous selection of teas, if I do say so myself.
And jelly babies.
And beer, come on, be fair.
Yeah, you got your licence as well, haven't you?
Yeah, because I don't think I've been in since you got your licence, so it's been a while for us.
The owner is working as hard as possible to make the menu as ridiculously huge and varied as he can. Nice. So we've got something like 20 odd beers in bottles and 5 on tap, and it's ridiculous, but it's wonderful. I'm not complaining at all. There's all kinds of choice in there. And in a minute, or at some point, you're going to ask me about films. So what if I ask you what your favourite board games are? Just one. Just a current favourite, say.
Zombies.
I
love Zombies.
That's it, man. I haven't played that in a little while.
Absolutely adore Zombies, especially with the Cabin in the Woods expansion for that, the Evil Dead expansion.
I haven't tried that one.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that.
Cool. Nice.
I really like Small World.
Good. The Small World's one of the ones that sort of got me into the bigger world of gaming. Yeah. And kind of led to this.
It's a fun game. I like the replay value having that.
Yeah.
It's great. I tried not to say Catan.
Yeah. And I guess a current favourite is Gloom, because I've only just got that, and Gloom. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Very good.
Really enjoy playing Gloom.
And Mr. Keith Baker of Gloom is a friend of Meeples. He's a lovely chap.
Yeah, I dropped him an email after I'd heard that he'd been in the store. I was asking because I wasn't sure whether he lived in the area or something, and he was like, no, he's just over visiting. So
yeah, flyby.
Hopefully we will get him on a show at some point in the future to talk about Gloom.
Cool. He's got upcoming Gloom Munchkin.
Gloom Munchkin.
Munchkin is currently...
Wow, there's a mashup from hell.
Reaching out into every sphere of gaming and is just appearing all over the place. You've had Love Letter Munchkin, you've had Smash Up Munchkin, and now Gloom Munchkin.
Love Letter, actually. That's a great game.
Well, I mean, like a £5-6 pocket game.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Remember
Munchkin Flux could work.
Munchkin Flux would be cool. Yeah.
Actually, if I can take a moment to punt myself, my favourite game of all time is the Discord game. I don't know if I'm for the Pratchett fans.
Which one?
Well, we are very big Pratchett fans.
Oh, that's so it's basically Shadows of Camelot, but the...
It's not cooperative at all. It's completely competitive. You might be thinking of Witches was the co-op Discworld game.
It's worker resource management, right? Item book. Still.
Yes,
Well,
to a certain extent. You don't have a pool, you have to purchase people, but yeah, I mean...
Why am I challenging you? You're ridiculous. Why? Oh, Brendan, stop this.
It's like me telling you how to sound engineer.
I know, right?
But, he's the designer of this game, Martin Wallace, huge games designer, has done the Morport board game, the Witches board game, and he was all prepared to do his third game in the series about the Discworld gods. And unfortunately, I'm going to take off my hat because Mr. Pratchett passed, which was, just terrible news.
Very much so.
And the license has been revoked, and the games aren't getting reprinted, and the third game will never see the light of day.
Oh,
that's terrible.
Yeah, so if anyone happens to be listening from the Pratchett estate, so to speak, please, the fans are very upset and sad about this, so please bring it back out.
I know his daughter did say that the Discworld series would not be continuing. She wasn't going to take it on. Which it's sad, but I can kind of see that maybe that's right.
Yeah.
Because then anyone could write that series.
Yeah, I don't think the series should continue. No. I mean, I could see a place for like a short story anthology of other authors writing short stories within the Discworld. Yeah. That would be brilliant. Yeah. I'd really love to see some. I'd love to see other authors' takes on the Discworld. Yeah. That would be cool. But I certainly don't think there should be any more Discworld novels.
But another board game would be cool. Especially if it finishes off that trilogy.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so I guess in summary on that, then we vehemently disagree with that article.
In summary on that, it's just like the quote that he finishes the article with is that, well, it's in his article, is, board games are an exercise in killing time. I prefer to be doing something more educational, more interesting, and more fun. I would suggest that you're not playing the right games.
Yes, indeed. I would say that if chess and Monopoly are the epitome of the board games that you've tried, there is a whole new world out of there.
Every day people come into the cafe and they say, right, board game cafe, do you have Monopoly? And we go, well, yeah, we do. You're welcome to play that. But how about I show you something new, something interesting, something that will shake your foundations.
It's like writing off a whole genre. It's like saying you don't like sci-fi because 2001 was a bit slow.
Yeah, exactly that.
I will say, last time I was in Thirsty Meeples, I did play Scrabble.
Did you?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I had that for ages.
There's a reason that some of the classics are classics. But there's constant innovations. There's constant new ideas and interesting games and...
I guess it was only about a year or so ago that I came across the idea of a cooperative board game that you play against the game itself, and I think that was an interesting concept for me that I'd never come across before in board games. Yeah, and it makes total sense, but I just I never even considered that was something you could do.
And you can have fun. You can have as much fun losing those games as you
Absolutely,
can.
Absolutely, yeah. I think we played Forbidden Desert, and we were within like one turn of winning the entire thing, and one of us was trapped outside. I was like, no, we were so close.
But Forbidden Desert, Eldritch Horror, Betrayal at the House of the Hill. Although
the whole semi-cooperative scene, the whole kind of Battlestar Galactica or Dead of Winter, where we're all on the same side, but one of you. Can you swear on this show? Is that a thing? One of you swine, one of you bastards is a traitor. Which one? It's me. Yeah. But which one of you is the traitor? And that's just amazing. The dynamic.
Yeah, I think I saw people playing that, and one person is a turncoat or something. Yeah.
It's like one of my best experiences from the Games Expo this year was playing Legendary Encounters Alien, which was a co-op game.
Well, let's see. Have you played the XCOM board game?
I have, and that's
any good?
Really interesting.
Because I'm a big fan of the XCOM games.
It does a really good job of representing that in board game format.
Because there's some kind of companion app or something for a phone, isn't there?
Yeah, so we each have our own little mini game depending on your role. So you're the head researcher, I'm the squad commander, you're the base commander kind of thing. We each have our own tasks to do. And if you look at those mini games individually by themselves, they're nothing too special. But put those hand in hand with an app that's giving you a countdown of you have to tell the head researcher he's got 10 seconds to draw some cards, pick something to research and devote resources to it, and if he doesn't do it in those 10 seconds, something bad will happen. And then immediately when those 10 seconds are up, somebody else has to do something in 5 seconds, and now you have to do something, and you've got 15 seconds, and you've got all these judgment calls to make, and you don't have time to consult the other players. It's really interesting, and this marriage of board games and technology that we're seeing is intriguing, shall we say. Very intriguing. So, yeah, that I definitely recommend.
Cool,
For a fan
okay.
of the video game, definitely.
Excellent, okay, because I've been toying with the idea of getting it, because I know that's a kind of 60, 70 quid one, isn't it?
No, it's not even 60, 70. I think it might be in the 30, 40.
Oh, right, okay.
But that's
I think that must have
definite
just been because I
one.
was at a convention and they maybe slightly hiked the prices.
Yeah. I think there's definitely one to wave at somebody who doesn't know what's out there in the board gaming world and say, no, look at this. This completely blurs the lines on what you perceive as a board gamer. Oh, I'll roll a dice and I move 4 spaces.
Yeah.
No, there's just the innovative.
Well, that brings me to something that I hope you can clarify. There's talk about the European versus the American style of game.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we mean by the European?
So we call them Eurogaming and Ameritrash. Right? And the idea is... in the
Gee, let me think which one's good.
No, they both are completely valid, and that's a term that comes from America, Ameritrash.
All right, okay.
So
It's ironic and self-referential then, okay.
So
Like
the
Americans.
idea is that your typical Euro game will be, so Catan, perfect example, really indirect conflict, so I can block you, but I very rarely attack, and we very rarely have direct conflict in that way, and there's a lot of interaction between the players in terms of trade and resource management and that sort of thing. So things like Carcassonne and Settlers of Catan are perfect examples. Whereas the Ameritrash scene is more, Zombies is a really good example. You're more looking at that direct conflict and that interaction with the players on that level. Less resource management, more run for the chopper with a shotgun. If you see what I mean. More that kind of action film, Hollywood vibe, I guess.
Okay, sweet, that's cool.
Yeah, that's a very quick summary.
Yeah,
of
that's a good summary.
My perception of it, anyway. Yeah, and they both have a lot of merit in their own style, I suppose.
Sweet. I was never quite clear on that. That's good to know. But yeah, so I think, in summary, we disagree with pretty much
We disagree with you
every word.
vehemently, and if you would like us to prove you why, then come and see either us or Thirsty Meeples, and we will take you on a voyage of discovery, sir.
Do you want to hear about a cool thing?
Yeah.
Of course, we
This
always
is
want to hear
kind
about
of
cool
valid
things.
about the golden age of gaming, right? This is what we're calling it at the moment, golden age of gaming. In July, I'm off to a mega game. Have you heard about the mega games in
No.
London? So it's this company, the guy that runs it works for the UK military designing war game scenarios for them.
Right.
I don't know what that exactly entails. But
Would you like to play a game?
Well, the mega game is 300 people, I think, this one, in a sort of community centre somewhere on the outskirts of London. This one's called Watch the Skies, and it's about an alien encounter with the people of Earth. Of these 300 people playing the game, so there's like, think of it on RPGs, there's 300 player characters, there's 50 GMs who are all organising and running the game. I am the military attaché of Vietnam. There is a head of the Vietnam military, there's the president and his prime minister is kind of his aide, there's the ambassador to the UN, and I think kind of sort of cultural attaché who deals with the media and that kind of thing. There are something in the region of 50 different factions. Like the American faction has 50 people representing it, whereas Vietnam, we're kind of not as big international presence. We've got like 8 people on our team. There are 4 teams representing international media groups. There's the Pope and his staff. It's ridiculous, and it's about these alien incursions. And are they here? Are they invading us? Are they here to kind of like peacefully encounter us? We don't know. We just know that the theme is going to be an alien encounter. And it's things like, as the military advisor, only myself and my boss can go and see the world map that shows the distribution of military units. Only the ambassador is allowed to go to the UN meetings, and we all have to report back to the prime minister, who gets to make decisions with the president.
Okay.
And it's just huge.
Yeah, so it's a massive kind of LARP military. What's the word? drill.
War game part,
Yeah.
role play game part,
yeah.
all this stuff.
That sounds pretty awesome.
Sounds
It's
awesome.
Yeah,
incredible.
because I liked some of the ARGs that went on, where you take part in the game and then you have to go and you find stuff on the TV or you find it out in painted on walls or posters and things like that. Because I think Nokia did it. It was called the Nokia game, and they would ring you or they would send you text messages and then you'd have to decode those and be at a place at a time, and those kind of things always intrigued me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a cool thing. Mega games.
Mega
Games
yeah,
London.
that's a very cool thing.
Watch the skies.
Yeah, I want to play.
Yes, we all do now.
Yeah. Cool. I think we put that one to bed.
Definitely, yeah.
Sweet. So what we also do with our guests on this show is to put you on the spot.
Okay,
And
yep.
get you to name 5 films that you need to add to our NerdVsWorld list of films you have to see before you die.
Okay.
So they don't have to be groundbreaking, they don't have to be classics, they just have to be 5 films that you would recommend to a friend.
So I've got a list,
Cool.
which is in my phone, which is turned off. So here we go, from memory, without the aid of a safety net. First for me, I've got to say Star Wars. I know that's so kind of typical and standard.
Fine,
for so
Empire
many
was one of
up
mine.
there,
Yeah.
but I can't think of a time when I hadn't seen it. It goes so far back for me. And, well, how do you feel about The Force Awakens? How do you feel about that?
I feel pretty good,
Oh,
actually.
yeah, I'm looking forward to
I feel
it.
pretty good.
After The Phantom Fast, for me, you get me to pick one of those films, one of the original trilogy. I have such a kind of schizophrenic argument in my head about which one of those.
I'm
3
fairly
films.
solid on Empire.
Yeah, see, that's the most common one. I love the completeness of the first film. I love the completeness of A New
Yeah,
Hope.
it
And-
is a full story.
yeah, beginning, middle, end, done. But then again, I love the danger of... I can argue about this with myself for so
That's fine, carry on, we'll just sit and watch.
Star Wars.
It'll be like Gollum all over again.
Yeah,
Great.
exactly. Yes, yes.
No, I think we're actually pretty hopeful for
Yeah.
Force
Yeah.
Awakens.
Touch
Yeah.
wood.
And,
Yeah.
it feels like it's going to be good. The
Yeah.
vibe about it is good.
Yeah, the magic 8 ball saying positive things.
Yeah.
Just
All
the
things look positive.
physical props and real life sets, and like from that point, it's just like cool.
Yeah,
I was
I'm
sold
not
that
slavering in the same way I was for episode 1 because of episode 1, but I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
And it's put us in a good place, hasn't it?
Absolutely,
It's kind
yeah.
of
You know, it's
rounded.
remember what happened last time,
Yeah,
Simon.
exactly. That you were so. Oh god.
Yeah, it's
No, it's
like
I refer you to the start of
Did
season
you-
2 of Spaced.
yeah.
Yeah, quite. Did you hear the rumour that JJ snuck in Jar Jar? JJ has snuck in Jar Jar's skeleton. Have you heard this rumour?
I heard the
I don't know
rumour.
how kind of true this is, but apparently, if you know and you look,
No,
you
I'd be
can
happy because
spot-
I'd heard about the potential for Boba Fett getting out of the Sarlacc. If you just pan in the Sarlacc and just there is the bones of Jar Jar Binks in the Sarlacc while he climbs out, that would work for me.
Yeah, that would do it. Wouldn't it? That's like 2
Spent
ticks.
1,000 years being digested. Yes, you deserved that.
That's like 1 shot, 2 ticks. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, Star Wars.
It's a good choice.
Human Traffic.
Yeah, cool.
John Sim, I was
Yeah.
a huge fan of Human Traffic. The direction and the acting in that film is frankly amazing, wonderful. Big fan of that. The Matrix is possibly the only film I've paid to see at the cinema twice.
I went 7 times.
Did you? Yeah.
Primarily because it was the same year as episode 1, and I
Right.
was that disappointed with episode 1, and The Matrix came out of nowhere. So for me, I think The Matrix was also on my list.
Yeah.
That for me was just like, it blew me away totally.
I knew nothing about that film when I went to the cinema. I literally hadn't heard a thing. I got called out of the blue. A group of us are going to down see a film. Do you want to come? Oh yeah, what is it? The Matrix. Never heard of it. It's a kung fu film. Okay. And that is what I got told. And that I had to. My jaw was on the floor
Yeah.
at the end of
And
that film.
and it's ageless. It's like I'm
Yeah.
doing the Ready Player One film challenge at the moment, which means watching every film referenced in that book. There's like 80 of them. And I do them in double bills. So I watched Lady Hawk, which is phenomenal. I had to get your Blu-ray back to you.
Yes,
It's an awesome film.
because I've got to watch it before December.
And I tweeted saying, just watch Lady Hawk, it's incredible. I'm not quite sure how The Matrix is going to follow this. Put The Matrix back in, I was like, no, this film's still awesome.
Yeah.
Because it is. It was like the first scene with like, your men are already dead.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, and it's just an awesome pick.
Yeah,
Good
and
call.
For me, that's like the pinnacle of Keanu Reeves' career in particular. I like, I don't know, he's never particularly blown me away as a
No,
performer
not
as
at
such,
all.
but in that film, he just did it.
That and Johnny Mnemonic are very much on a par for me. I think he's very good in Johnny Mnemonic.
There's a film called Thumbsucker as well, which is worth a watch. It's an independent film where he plays a stoned dentist, essentially. And it's pretty good.
I have no hopes for his new film being any good.
What's
the one where two girls turn up at his house.
Oh man, I saw the trailers for that.
It sounds like the intro to a porn film.
It looks like that, and then they basically capture him and torture him and stuff. So it's Eli Roth.
Is it Eli Roth? It's called Knock Knock, isn't it? Yeah. Basically,
avoid.
They basically, his wife's gone out of town. These two girls turn up. They seduce him,
and then start torturing him.
Bizarre.
Yeah,
sounds really Hollywood.
The word you're looking for is shit.
Yeah, I guess that is.
Yeah, and also you can't forget Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. They're going back a ways there, but that's brilliant.
Yeah. Sorry. We digressed.
So my background, my degree, going all the way back, is acting and theatre. Musical theatre was my thing once upon a time.
Me too. Performing arts.
Yeah. Nightmare Before Christmas.
Awesome.
Always surprised it wasn't
Cracking
a stage
choice.
musical, because that is such a good film.
The songs in that are phenomenally good.
Yeah, the animation style still, I go back and I watch it, and it does, because of it's the style it is, it hasn't aged in the same way that some animated films have aged, because the quality of anime recently has been just phenomenal. But that style is phenomenal.
Yeah, Henry Selick, is genius. Have you seen Coraline?
I have seen Coraline,
I love that one. Yeah. That was in 3D, so that one that was well worth it in 3D.
Yeah.
So that's
cool. How many is that? So Star Wars, Matrix, Human Traffic, Nightmare Before Christmas, one left.
Well, I've got a different one written down, but I keep coming back to Fight Club. I read the guy's books afterwards, and I cannot remember his name now.
Chuck Palahniuk?
Yes, that's the guy, and I like his books. I mean, they all tend to have very similar lines of kind of guy who builds up and ends up in these weird and terrible situations and scenarios. So I kind of, I don't know, overdid his books. I read a load of them in one go, and they sort of merged a little bit in places. But I'm a big fan of Fight Club. And
it's one of those films that you have to go back and watch again once you've seen the ending of it. Yeah. You really have to go back and go, oh, look, there's the subliminal frame of him. And
it's Edward Norton and Brad Pitt. Thank you, sorry, I went blank there. Just at top form, the pair of them. And I was really impressed by that.
It's one of those films as well, if you go back and watch it with director's commentary, it's incredible. It's very rare I find a good commentary track.
Okay.
But Fight Club was a really good commentary track.
I'll have to give that
especially when it towards the end where they're fighting in the stairwell. And it's Edward Norton just throwing himself down the stairs.
Yes.
He did it so many times, and they ended up using the first take.
Yeah.
It's like little things like that get picked up on the commentary tracks that I really like.
Yeah.
Wow.
So.
Sweet.
That's
good selection.
Excellent selection.
Yeah.
Cool. I didn't want to go to kind of like trying to think of really obscure films and be really kind of, I'm going to think of something nobody's brought up before.
Well, that's it. So we did it off the cuff, so that's why,
Cool,
very similar choices. So, cool.
Excellent choice.
Sweet.
That's a pretty good way to wrap up, I think, today.
Okay, well, just before we do, I want to quickly, a couple of things. Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell finished on TV on Sunday. It was epic. If you haven't seen it, watch it.
Okay.
It is one of the finest TV shows I've seen all year. It just came out on Blu-ray, so I went and bought that today, and I'm going to watch the entire thing again.
Nice. Did you read it?
I haven't. No, I was given the book, and I never got round to reading it.
I didn't finish it, and that's so rare for me. So many times in my life, I've picked up a book, gone halfway through, and gone, God,
A few people have said that in the middle of the book, it got really, really dull.
Yeah, that was what happened to me, and I so rarely don't finish a book. I try my best to power them through, and that one stumped me. I mean, because it's like,
you're the second person today who said that about that book. Okay. So I'm kind of glad that I came to it on the TV show. Yeah, it's everything you would hope that kind of dark fantasy TV show would be. Fantastic. And it got an extra episode, but I think I read an article, the Digital Spy review of it, I think I read today, and they said it hadn't had great viewing figures. It's unlikely we're ever going to see anything like it again. So make the most of it and watch it, because it's a phenomenally good series. Very dark, brilliant show. So yeah, there's that, and just a kind of upcoming thing is obviously we're not far away from 9 Worlds now. 4 weeks until 9 Worlds, where I'm going to be taking part in the second annual podcast games. So come along and support me and watch me kicking people's ass at geek knowledge.
Don't hold back this time.
I won't. Well, this time I'm allowed. I felt uncomfortable taking part in the quiz last time. It's kind of, I feel like we're professional nerds, so it's kind of cheating. Taking part in quizzes.
I had no problem winning it. That's your morals, dude. Fuck them.
All right, fair enough. I should have more flexible morals. So yeah, I mean, hopefully we'll be doing other stuff there as well. And then also a shout out for Kaleidocon, which is coming up in October, that we're going to be involved in there.
We should have one of the crew from Kaleidocon on in our next episode, so that's 2 weeks' time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so to talk a bit about the event, what to expect there. This is another convention that's kind of it's based around games, board games, retro gaming.
Fantastic.
So it's a very gaming heavy convention.
And the voice of GLaDOS is going to be there.
We're going to be interviewing
the voice.
said voice of GLaDOS.
Awesome.
Which is going to be very, very cool. So yeah, I was pleased you mentioned about Portal earlier on. Yeah, we're going to be doing that. It's going to be cool. And then, of course, don't forget we've got the new YouTube channel now. So please go along, subscribe to the YouTube channel. There will be many more videos coming out on there. We've still got a bunch to come from MCM. We'll be doing previews of our shows. All the previous shows of NerdVsWorld and the Wonky Cast and everything are on there. And even some weird songs that I've done.
Oh, I can't wait to re-record those and get some videos done. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, so we've got my poor home recorded attempts and Brendan's going to make me sound good.
Is that all those knobs and buttons over there do?
Yeah.
That's it. There's
the sound good.
There's a big button there that says make Spindles sound better.
Turn it up to 11.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, please go along and check that.
Sweet. So that's where we're going to wrap up.
I would say that's where we'll wrap it up.
Cool.
Cool.
Sweet. So thank you all for listening. I've been Brendan.
I've been Spindles.
And I'm Simon.
Until next time, take care and be excellent to each other.